Up, everybody? I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, and I thought because I really need to find a place in Bali that I would actually share kind of my process as I'm looking for places. And hopefully, this process might help someone else when they're kind of considering even just a couple nights stay or a week-long stay or a month stay in a certain place. I just wanted to show where I start and some of the things I look for. And obviously, my way of doing things is going to be different from how other people book accommodations, book flights, all of that. But it's nice to know another person's method to the madness, especially since I think a lot of people get stuck in the booking of the flight, the booking of the accommodation, or even transportation, how to get around. And this is why I like checking out a place for more than just a week. Obviously, if I only have a week, that's or a couple days, that's just what I'm given. And I'm one of those people that I definitely try to maximize my time there and see as much as I can. However, it's so much nicer to actually book several weeks up to a month or longer if possible, because then you can actually live life as you're discovering a new place, being in a new place. And so, again, I figured I'd take you on the journey with me of booking accommodation. So, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to talk you through it, kind of like why I'm looking at certain places and where, and hopefully this might help you next time you go to book a spot. So let's get it started. We're gonna go here. Let me do two things. All right. So I love that I can do the share the screen and you can still kind of see me because I do make a lot of faces when I'm looking for things and talking about things. So this looks like a lot of chaos, I want to say, especially like if I were to just walk onto someone's computer screen, I would think like, "Oh my God, what are we looking at? This is crazy." So I'm actually going to I'm going to go here. So I just like I do with flights, I like to check certain websites just to get an idea of areas, what's offered, pricing versus other areas. So I kind of like to get like a broad picture of what's going on in a country or in a certain area of a country. And then I start to like narrow things down. So for me, booking.com is a great way to just see what's out there. And you can kind of put the area here. I did Ahmed. Ahmed is a little bit north. I actually, I'll show you a map because this is another thing people do is they kind of like decide to go to a country, but they don't realize how big some of these places are. Like Bali is a big country, or a big place. And if you look on a map, like this is Bali. It's an island and it's a big island. So I'm zooming out again. So this is all of Bali. It's a big island. It's not a small place. So when someone says, I'm going to Bali, it's like, ooh, that's cool. Which part? So an easy way to, let me see if I can. an easy-ish way when you're going to Bali is think of this like Bali is the chicken. So this is the head. Sorry, guys. This is the head. This is the body. This is the foot. And then this is the egg. And the egg is a whole other island. So for my purposes, a lot of people like to spend time. Let me see if I can. Sorry, let me just put Bali. Okay, so this might help. Oh, it still has all the accommodations and stuff. But I I just kind of wanted to show you the difference. So you can kind of already see price differences. And I put in a month long, end of February to end of March. And so there's a whole lot of price ranges, like $600 for a month. So this one says $17 a night, $624 for 34 nights. So essentially, actually, that's more than a month. So there are places for $600 a month. If you look at the map, that's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Now, sorry guys, this looks like the middle of nowhere, but this area is actually the Ubud area, which is the kind of cultural center and capital-ish area of Bali. So a lot of people stay within the Ubud area because there's just so much to see, so much to do, lots of restaurants. And you can see there's a place for 2 grand for the month, and then there's another place for 550 for a month. Those two places are not close to each other, even though it looks like it on the map, they're not. So just keep that in mind. But if we zoom in, okay, so Ubud. So again, this place is way far away from Ubud. Uh, Sometimes just to get an idea, I'll pull up like Google Maps and I'll find out like, oh, this place over down in Pairing, how far is that from Ubud or this place in Ubud? So sometimes I'll actually open up Google Maps and put in addresses just to see how far. Because on the map, they look fairly close, but once you're actually there, sometimes it's like a 2 hour drive with small roads, traffic, all of that. So you gotta kind of know what you're looking at, know the areas a little bit, or just do more research. And Google mapping things and finding out how far away they are from each other is super helpful, especially because, for example, if you're going to do, I'm actually going to pull up Google Maps just to help you guys out. Um, just because, let's see, Bali. Just because, let's say you want to do diving, which is something that I would like to do while I'm in Bali. It's not something I want to central my whole month around, but it would be nice to be near it. However, it would also be nice to be in Ubud, which is, the capital kind of center, cultural center of the island. And I need to decide though, if I want to dive once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, I probably don't want to stay in Ubud because I'll show you. So I'm just gonna pick Ubud. And we'll just Ubud Palace. That's a good choice. Okay. So as you can see, it's kind of like right in the middle of Ubud. Now let's get directions. Okay, I know there's good diving in Ahmed. So I'm gonna put in, actually, I'm gonna put in Bali Dive Resort. They're not quite in Ahmed, they're a little bit north, well, a lot of bit north, but they're a really good dive resort. So I'm gonna do Bali Dive Resort and Spa. Now check this out. 2.5 hours, no matter which direction you take, it's at least 2.5 hours to get to Bali Dive Resort. Now, when you look at the map, it doesn't look too far away, but again, with traffic, with narrow roadways, if a truck is stopped because it breaks down, like it's a long drive. So I don't think I would stay in a boot if I plan to dive with Bali Dive Resort 2, 3 times a week. That's a long commute for some diving. So instead, I want to pick something closer to Bali Dive Resort, but maybe I don't want to stay in Bali Dive Resort. Not to say that it's not great. It's freaking great in Bali Dive Resort. So let's say, okay, how far is Bali Dive Resort from Ahmed? So I'm just gonna say Ahmed Beach. Okay, 21 minutes. So I could actually stay a little bit farther south. Is that right? Sorry, guys. I gotta figure. And so this, another thing too, I think a lot of people get discouraged because I'm gonna say Ahmed Paradise Beach Club. I think a lot of people get discouraged because they start looking and especially if you have no idea the names of places, you don't know what's there, what to look for, it's discouraging because, like I said, you look at Bali and it's this huge island, and there's millions of places to stay, right? With a whole gamut of different price ranges. And so a lot of people kind of get discouraged or just get overwhelmed and they're like, never mind, forget it. Like I'll stay home because it's much easier to stay home than try to figure all this out, especially in a place you don't know. And I think this is why I really like to talk to people that I know and are from places or who I know have visited places and spent a lot of time there because then they can help with, well, what are you looking for? Do you want to dive? Do you want to be in the mountains? Do you want to be on a beach but not diving? Do you want to live in the jungle? Do you want to be around animals? Do you want to be like near all the monkeys? What's your flavor? And then you can kind of narrow down from there. So as you can see, Ahmed Paradise Beach Club, Ahmed is south of Bali Dive Resort and Spa. But it's only a 17-minute drive. That's a much better commute if I decided, hey, I want to go dive with Bali Dive Resort, but I don't necessarily want to live up there because honestly, guys, there's not a whole lot of stuff up there. Not saying there's a whole lot of stuff in Ahmed, but it's different. I've actually never stayed in Ahmed, so I figure it might be a cool place to check out for a couple weeks or a month. So now that I know, like, that's a bit closer, Ahmed's near the beach, which I would like to be near the beach. And also, when you look at Bali, Denpasar is where you fly into. So this area is pretty heavily concentrated with hotels, businesses, traffic, all that kind of stuff. So my first visit to Bali, actually, I stayed in Kuta, and I didn't really like it. I can't remember where we stayed, but it was near the beach, which I was so excited about. And we actually walked to the beach and it was super crowded. Tons of people there. There was a ton of trash there, which could have just been because sometimes when certain weather comes in and out or certain tides change, certain beaches just get a lot of trash. And this is why beach cleanups and things are so important. And I highly recommend if you do visit a place and you're staying at a beach or near a beach and you have time, like talk to some of the local dive shops or even hotels and ask about do they have like a weekly beach cleanup or anything and volunteer some time. It feels so good to get the beaches cleaned wherever you're staying on or near. But anyway, Kuta Beach wasn't very wasn't what I envisioned for Bali beaches. And then when you head south into like the lake, there's a lot of bigger resorts and things like that. So you kind of get the more, I don't want to say secluded, but it's kind of secluded because each resort has its own property. And when you stay there, like the first time I went there, I actually stayed in Bal or Four Seasons. And the property itself is big and grand and wonderful and beautiful, but it's kind of secluded. Like it's not close to a town or a city. Like you have to take a taxi there and stuff like that to check things out. So it's all pretty amazing. But anyway, so let's say I want to stay up in this corner. So I'm going to go back to booking.com. So I'm pretty much going to ignore all of this stuff down here. I'm going to head north a little bit. So let's find um so this is like the Ahmed area. And again, $4,000 for the month, right? Like that's a lot out of my budget. But then right over here, there's $700 a month. So that's actually not bad. I'm going to click on it and just see what it looks like. I love that they have a pool. I would like to stay in a place with a pool. I think this is a guest room. I love that they have a desk because I'm going to be doing more stuff like this. So it'd be nice to have a desk. Let's see. Another thing to think about when you're booking accommodations, a lot of times they'll put pictures up of a room, not the room you're actually looking to stay in. For example, this says King Suite with sea view. Well, if I'm if the one that they put on there was a double room, like a bed with bed with two beds, a room with two beds, it's probably not the king suite. So I can't expect to get this room when I'm looking at one that's yeah, because that's king suite. So you got to remember that too when you're booking stuff. Like if you're booking a double bed room, uh, but yet you're looking at all the queen king suite pictures, don't be disappointed when you get to the property and you're in a different room because you got to make sure like the pictures for the room you want to book match what the type of accommodation is that you're booking. Anyway, this looks like a pretty cool place. Um, yeah, garden. It looks like they have a nice like sitting area, like cafe, restaurant. The food looks great. Mm, nice, not bad. Okay, and it got 8.6, great reviews. So I'm actually going to close that and I'm just going to heart it. So I'm going to save it for later. Save to create list, Bali long term. Boom. Now, as I'm looking through stuff and saving things and kind of narrowing down the process, I can actually check my Bali long-term folder and and then once it's narrowed down, just compare my two or three things within the folder. So that was the 707. Let's try this 782 for the month. Good Karma bungalows. I love karma. Good karma. I love the purple. It's got a pool. It's next to a mountain. But yeah. Um, One thing you can kind of tell from photos, like see this bed, these are pretty traditional style beds. The mattress looks a bit thin. Not to say it's not uncomfortable, it's just could be a bit harder of a surface because the mattress is thinner, but sometimes they're like super comfortable. So I do look for things like that. Food looks good. Looks good. The beach is right there. Um, what's another thing I look for, guys? So here's the thing. I'm not sure if they left the door cracked, like when they were just taking pictures, but if that's the door when it's closed, it looks like it has quite a gap. Not a huge deal. However, I the bugs love me. Mosquitoes, no-see-ums, especially when you're near the beach, the no-see-ums can be bad. And certain times of day, certain areas, there's a lot of mosquitoes. When I say certain areas, I mean certain areas with like standing water or ponds or rice paddies, things like that. So I do take into consideration places, um, is there tons of foliage? Is it a wooded area? And if so, cool, no problem. But then do the beds have mosquito netting? Because a lot of times, if they don't, and especially if some of the doorways have like spaces between them or they don't have screens, like I will get eaten alive. So that's one thing I take into consideration when I'm looking at places to stay. So it's not just finding the right area. Like I said, I looked for a place nearish the beach, close. I looked for a place close to Bali Dive Resort. I'm not saying I love Bali Dive Resort. I think the people who run it are great. And so I'll probably dive with them. And so that's why I picked that area. It's close-ish to Bali Dive Resort, so I could go a couple times a week and dive with them. There's other dive resorts too in the Ahmed area, so I could just dive out of Ahmed as well with a different shop. So area is key, like where you want to stay. And then amenities, like are there restaurants nearby? Are there other resorts with restaurants? Like, do you want a variety? Are there places to go get massages? Are there places to go shopping, like a market, Are there places to get I don't want to say trinkets, but like souvenirs and like sarongs and cool like necklaces and bracelets? Like, is there places like that? Or are you pretty remote? That's another thing. If you're pretty remote, you want to make sure you're cool with that. Like I said, if you're staying in near the Ubud area, it's 2.5 hours from diving. Well, at least the diving resort I was talking about. However, the amenities, the restaurants, the cultural activities, the massages, the places to get your nails done, all that kind of stuff is like right there. There's so much in that center area that like you could be busy for a whole month just staying there. So area is good. And then other things I look for, how how much am I going to get bitten or not bitten being in that area? So how closed are the rooms? Is there mosquito netting around the bed? Is there screens on the windows and doors? Those are big things I look for because again, the bugs love me. And so if there's nowhere for me to go and have a reprieve from things like mosquitoes, then I tend to get pretty miserable pretty fast. So yeah, location, what you want to be doing, how close is it or not close to amenities, like restaurants and things to do. Uh, bugs, are like sometimes the more expensive places are like super sealed and like there's no way, or they like even fog outside every day or certain days of the week to keep the mosquitoes and insects down. Um, what's another thing I look for? Does it have a pool? Does it not have a pool? Do I need a pool? Yeah, it's kind of nice in a hot, humid area to like take a plunge every day, even if it's 5 minutes, or sometimes I'll even like sit in the pool and read a book for the day. So, Pools are nice, but sometimes when I'm traveling, they're not always necessary. If I know I'm only going to be in a place a couple of days, like, do I need a pool? Not necessarily. So yeah, all things to consider when you're looking for a place. I'm just gonna pull this one up just because it is so cheap, like $9 a night. It's a homestay, so you're probably staying in someone probably built like a large home and you're staying in a room in their home, or they've built kind of like a compound where they have like multiple bungalows or they have like a strip of rooms like divided by, just a wall, but you're kind of on a strip. And this looks nice. It looks like it's on some sort of rice paddy or some sort of fields. The breakfast looks great. The bed looks nice. Bathroom looks clean. You can tell by the window that it's sealed, so it's not like open air where like bugs are able to get in. This looks nice. It has good lighting. Well, this one's not bad. And it has really good reviews, so I'm actually gonna hurt this one for later. Let's look at one more and then we can move on. Let's look at one of these really expensive ones. Like, what's the difference? Mathis Lodge. Okay, so it looks like this is more elevated. So you have like ocean view, you have the infinity pool. This looks like places you can, oh, this must be near the infinity pool where you can sit in like a nice little cabana style. I love when they do pictures of the staff. It's so cute. Okay, it's kind of like a large um resort-ish. I would call it a resort on the hillside. It looks like each villa has like their own pool, or at least this one does. This one might have one, but it's either um blocked, like just so you can't see in, or it's on the other side. Sometimes they do that as well. Or it's just a garden view. Oh, a little barbecue action. So yeah, this looks like very, very picturesque. Atmosphere is good for couples. When I think of atmosphere is good for couples, it means it's pretty far out there. And you can tell from just the that one view, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, it's great for couples because they probably wouldn't leave the resort and go do, I mean, they still go do day tours and things like that, but for the most part, places like this, I feel like most people kind of stick to the property and stay there. So, and it looks more like resort style, which means you're paying for more amenities. You're paying for um, probably turn down service, turn up service. People are cleaning your villa every single day. Ooh, I love the artwork. Yeah, this is a really nice place. Um, Excellent reviews. This is one of those places too that you could potentially call and say, "Hey, I see that, your villa is 4,000 or $100 a night. If I come and stay for a month or 2 months, do you think we could like negotiate a lower price?" Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't necessarily want to be this remote, so this is not gonna get a star from me or a heart. So yeah, that's kind of those are the things I look for. Um, Definitely out of my price range. 4,000 for a month is definitely out of my price range. But yeah, all these places look beautiful. Oh, there's Bali Dive Resort. Yeah, so see, they're like 2,300 for the month. Um, Beautiful place. There's not a whole lot up there. You definitely do need to take a taxi or something if you want to go to like markets and see more like nightlife and things like that. So, All right. Well, I'm gonna stop sharing. So I hope that this helps you at least able to narrow down where you would stay, what you want to do, how you want to do it, things you're looking for versus things I'm looking for. Everyone's different. So you might love the remote locations and be in the middle of nowhere and just stick to the resort the whole time. I'm going to be there a bit longer, so I kind of want to explore and see more things. However, I don't have a big budget. I have quite a small budget, so I'm going to be looking more on the budget side of things. And yeah, I just really hope this helped. And hopefully, the next time we talk, I have something booked or at least like narrowed down to three or four places. And you're going to find out where I'm staying because I'll be doing videos from there. So, have a good day. Talk